So I just want a little disclaimer here. This is not my personal instrument, and it is also not currently for sale, but it's got a cool story. We got a call. She had been told through the family what it was and started to describe it a little bit. And it was it's a 1956. This is according to her. It's a 1956 Les Paul. Belonged to her grandfather. And she had the serial number, and she said it had a Bigsby tremolo on it, which is this thing right here. So I'm like, without seeing it, without having it in front of me, or at least some good pictures, I didn't quite know what to make. You know, everyone's got a Stradivarius violin in their attic. So I started to ask her some questions about it. And the first thing I asked her was, what color is it? And her response was sunburst. So anyone that knows about 50s Gibson Les Pauls, particularly 1956, or really rather 40 or 52 through about 57, is they were gold top. By the way, anyone out there who's a vintage guitar expert, more so than I, if you see or hear anything and you can educate me back on some things I missed here, by all means. I've been doing this a long time, but I like to learn. So anyway, first thing that goes through my mind is, well, it's either not a 1956 Les Paul and it's something else, or it's been refinished or something of that nature. And then she went on to describe a little bit more about it. So I think I asked her, what do the pickups look like? Yeah, they're white. So I was like, okay, now we're back on track, which would mean these sort of white or cream colors, these are P90 pickups, which would have been what was installed in these guitars at the time. So asked her about the serial number. So come to find out, I'll skip ahead a little bit on this situation. This is legit. We're back on track. We get off track, get on track. So then she sent me some pictures. So then I was like, okay, that's been refinished, obviously. This situation here with the bridge, probably off some Japanese guitar in the 60s. You know, I'm going to guess that this refinish job was done maybe in the 60s or something. It looked exactly like this. It was a black and white photo. Yeah, she had sent a photo of her granddad playing this guitar. He looked like he was like in a polka band or something. Okay. It was pretty cool. And, the guy's smiling. Big old stash. It was awesome. But it looked just like this. And the photo didn't have a date on it, but, judging by the fashion and whatnot, the decor around him, I would say it was probably in the 70s, mid-70s.
Okay. All right.
And so she comes through the door. So, yeah, she opens this guitar case, and there's a pillow in it and this guitar. The first thing I noticed was, A, it's maybe cooler than I thought it was going to be. B, it's a poor amateur refinish. And you get it out, and this thing is just alligatored and orange peeled, and, it's like somebody used a paintbrush on it. You can really see on the back. I'm going to flip it over. And like, that's gnarly. Whatever they used, they got onto this. These are the original black plastic covers for the control cavities. There's some shellac or some shamong that they slapped around on it. Lord. But what's cool is this is the original finish, and it's clean and glossy and thin, and they were able to save the serial number. Super key. The forensic works begins. You start taking stuff apart. I'm going to pop this now, but the original pots are in there. The original caps are in there. Original switch. Somebody put a really bad, I think this probably would have been cream, this jack plate right here. We take a black light and we look for glue joints, finish overspray, cracks. It's really common to see cracks or broken headstocks or anything like that. So any shenanigans like that, a black light will really help you find those issues. It'll show up. The knobs are original. This stuff's original. The frets but they're not bad. If this was refretted, it was done a long time ago with a correct fret size. Sure. These are very thin, narrow, kind of short, and almost a little squared off on the crown. I said, hey man, what about this Bigsby? Because it was common to add these at any point in the life of one of these guitars. This is definitely a 50s Bigsby. And I think we were talking about one of the identifiers there was this information here. I think maybe the more modern ones say patent number like patent NO period, and then but you know, the age, the patina, definitely 50s. Here's the cool thing. If you look really close, see this mother of pearl?
Oh yeah.
Here and here? They did that at the factory because this would have had a stud.
Right, stop pill.
Yeah. And what they would do is you could get some special order stuff and you could add that to your order, and they would put that on at the factory. What they would do is they would take a guitar they already had, plug the holes with a mother of pearl, and slap a Bigsby on it. So I am very confident that this was original to the guitar. So the switch, I believe, I'd have to do a little bit more. So we call it a poker chip. It's a slang for that, you know, it would be a plastic ring, and it's a treble and rhythm and treble on it, and that would be on the top, and then there would be a threaded knurled nut thing that would hold this, and there's kind of an outline there for it. But I think most of the early gold tops didn't have that. Look at the flame on this thing.
It's beautiful.
We were joking, we were like, this guy won the lottery with this top, because it was gold at some point and no one knew what was underneath there. But maple is maple's maple. So sure, some maples got flame in it. They tended to just use whatever they had and they'd paint over it. And the flamier they are, the more extreme this grain, the more sought after they are. I mean, if that didn't have this, you know, Dutch boy stuff slapped all over it, I think that flame would pop even more than it. That's about as cool
a piece of maple
as you're gonna get. Right. How many pieces of maple are on here? I've never seen one from that era. It was a single piece. Generally, it's two pieces. Yep. You know, back in the 70s and 80s, modifying your guitar was modifying your guitar was where it was at, man.
Yeah.
Put a brass nut on it, you know. Well, this one, the seam is right there, almost right in the middle, which is pretty stinking cool as well. So this one is about as close as what they would call like a book match top. Again, this guy won the lottery on the top. No doubt. Yeah, it's been refinished. It's not original. But it's got a story. Yeah. And it's just vibey as hell.